every time I come here, I'm blown away by the beauty of this lake. Look at this water. There's absolutely no wind in it. I can see everything. The water is clear. It's a sunny day. We're in the pretty much in the middle of winter. It is January 25th, I believe. Let me confirm that. Yes, January 25th. It's cold, but if you pick the right day where the sun is up, when there is no wind, there is just no better place to be. Amazing. Amazing. We have such a nice spot here where I don't know who did this. Maybe the guys at the park did this bench here. But oh man, look, you can even have like a little coffee table in there. Wow, but there's many spots like this, you know. If you go around the lake, just there's another one, and there are a few of them. This is the best lake if you have a boat, if you have a kayak, even a paddleboard. You will be able to reach many places. I have a buddy, Bruce. He has a YouTube channel. I've seen him fishing this lake on winter, and he surprisingly have done pretty good, in my opinion. He has a small boat, and he has been able to reach some spots where he found some fish. And I have a harder time finding fish on winter, but I think if you wait close to the sunset, I think you have a much better chance. And that's how he has been able to find the fish. But honestly, you know, we have to be really careful on making it on time. Today, for example, the park will close at 4:30 p.m., which is still plenty of light time. But we probably have to be out of the water by 4 p.m. I wish I would have brought my binoculars, because I have such a good view here, but I haven't seen any ripples so far. So the only part that I don't see is there, but with the binoculars I probably will be able to see it. Let's get the rods, because I'm gonna cast around here, because why not, right? Why not? Okay guys, I have two setups here. Both of them are the same rod, just different color, but they are the same rod. It's a light rod, 7 foot. It is 4 to 10 pounds, both of them. I have one rig with just a jig in it, one of the phantom jig that I have, and the other one has a bombarda with a 2 grams phantom jig as well. Both are the same, similar reels, 2500. This one has a really light line. I think this braided is a soft braid 8 pound, and I have a 6 pound leader. On the bombarda float, because the bombarda weighs 15 grams, I have a 10 pound mainline braid, and I have the same 6 pound leader. So I'm fishing 6 pound leader. I think you can go for this trout, and pretty much for any fish in this lake, you can go as low as 4 pound leader, which it could be better maybe, you know, if you fish light jigs. But 6 pounds is good enough as well. I don't know if you will be able to see it here, but so this is at 3 grams, which, because I'm the shore, will be Oh, I was forgetting, another species that lives here is also kokanee, right? Kokanee, landlocked kokanee, which I think they can get up to, I don't want to make too many mistakes, but I think they can get, you know, 2-3 pounds easy for the kokanees. And yeah, I've really never tried to fish the kokanee. I think they'll stay mostly really deep, and you have to go with some heavy jigs, you know, really at the bottom pretty much. This is at 3 grams, and it can go pretty deep, you know. So you cast as hard as you can, of course. You can let it drop with a bail open. I think I've reached a rock. See, and that's one of the how you can check it. Now, look at this setup. I really, you know, I fished the Bombarda float for trout so many times but what I'm doing here, I have a 2 grams jig head in here. With my other setup, I can still cast these 2 grams, or you can put a float and cast the 2 grams jig, or you can go the Bombarda, right? The Bombarda will launch these 2 grams, man, crazy. But okay, this is the main line. This is my braid. I much prefer the braid line for pretty much for anything. But on the Bombarda float, it's really important, in my opinion, because you reach such a distance that you need to be very sensitive with the hook sets. It comes through the Bombarda float, comes to a bead and to a swivel, right? And then I tied the leader. Now this leader probably has like 7 feet leader. Yeah, it's pretty much the same size of the rod. Yeah, it's pretty much the same size of the rod. So 7 foot leader. The longer the leader, the better. But it has a limit. You know, it has a limit that is manageable. The longer the leader, the harder to control the cast. But this is what I wanna do. To properly cast the Bombarda, it takes a little bit of practice. It's a game of its own, you know. It's probably gonna take me too much of a time to explain the process on the Bombarda. Hopefully in summer I will be able to do a video on trout where I only fish Bombarda floats, but it's really good to cover water. You can do so many things with the Bombardas. You like to fish power bait, right? The little balls, the power bait balls. In bottom fishing, you can still do it with the Bombarda. You know, just put the hook, put the power bait in there, and just cast it. You will still cast very far, just as any other sinker. Anyways, guys, I don't want to talk too much. I want to get into fishing. And off we go. I just saw a splash there. I just saw a little splash there. Let me see how close I can get. And what should I try? If I don't want to get too close, then what I'll probably try is the Bombarda float. But let's get a little bit more. Now guys, there's also another really good way to fish, especially the 2 grams. I will do that with the 2 grams jig. It's just put a bobber in it. Put a bobber in it. Put the 2 gram. Put a 2 grams jig, and but you put some sand in it. You put some sand in the 2 grams. Come on. Oh, I think that was a strike. Oh, see, I had it. He's trying to get it. He's trying to get it. He's trying to get it. It's right here. It's right here. It's right here, but he has seen me. I was able to see him. It's not too small, you know. I'm gonna give it a minute. I'm not gonna. Oh, so the bombarda has the 2 grams, in it. They went for the 3 grams, but even the 3 grams is big. It's big hook for this. Even if it's a stocky trout, the 2 grams will be. I mean, the 3 grams is sometimes it's too big. You know, they strike it 1, twice, but you will be able to get it. You know, whenever they are really aggressive, you can get it on the 3 grams, even the 5 grams, right? But you don't want to miss too many bites. So see, because in that scenario, I just lost 2-3 bites on that trout. He was trying to get the jig, but he didn't. He probably had a small mouth. Yeah. I've been looking everywhere, and I've been trying to find a split shot. I guess I left all the split shots at home, but I'm gonna fish the 2 grams on just the regular straight out the 2 grams. But in order to get a little bit more distance on it, you can add a split shot in here. Now remember, the split shot has to be lighter than the jig head. So you cannot add a 3 grams split shot. You know, the end weight of your line has to be the jig with the biggest weight. And so I fish it so many times. I have videos on it fishing for trout with a split shot in it. It doesn't change much, you know. I mean, I would say it doesn't change anything, to be honest. Even salmon, I fish it with the split shot in there sometimes when I fish the 2 grams. But the 2 grams has the hook size for the small fish. Now, without the split shot, but I'm gonna try like this, just not split shot, just light line. You know, the lightest, the better, I guess. Oh man, how I forgot the split shot. The split shot would have been sweet here. I'm still waiting to see another rise because I want to cast exactly or as close as possible as wherever they rise. I think I had a fish in the. I think I had a fish right there. See, I knew I had a fish there. I knew it. And the dropout. At the dropout. I'm quiet because, well, they've seen me already. There's other people fishing. Oh, there's a drone somewhere here. Let's wet this and let's land this fella. I'm gonna be quick. I'm gonna release this little guy. It's a little bit smaller. Okay, I don't know if I got the release underwater, but it doesn't really matter, eh? It doesn't really matter. The 2 grams has just the perfect size, guys. Has the perfect size hook for the stocky trout here in British Columbia. Now I'm still waiting for more ripples because you have to cast the ripples, you know. I've been fishing for this stocky for a little bit by now, you know, and there's gonna be some places, some spots that are gonna be much more productive, you know. And the best way to have is look for the ripples. Find the ripples, you guarantee there's fish in there. And that's where you can unload everything you have, right? You can unload the bombardas, you can unload the jigs, the colors, the power bait, the float fishing, the fly fishing. That's where you have to try. No, you know, there is no much point on trying an area where there is no surfacing, when there is no ripples. You can still cast in those areas, but just cast one thing, whatever you are most confident, right? Like the jig or anything, just cast it, twitch it, nothing bites, and then move on. Come on, fishy, fishy, show yourself. I've heard the splash there, and I think, okay, let's try to get there. I heard the splash there, but somewhere in there. By the time I turned, I could only see the wave in the water. You would think there's a lot of fish if you see one splash, but that's not necessarily the case. And I guess I don't know for sure, but just the way that when you see a ripple, I cast and I get a bite, you know, that says a lot on the matter of see right here, see right here. That's where no, it's not going too deep. Again, I'm having trouble with this. I'm actually gonna sit down, guys. I'm actually gonna sit down. Oh, that was a bite. That was a bite. Oh, that fish was there for the whole time. The fish was there for the whole time. Shit. Such a lie, but oh, he's off. He's off. Oh my God. You can still get it whenever you don't see anything, but what are the chances, right? I mean, it's been 2 times now that I've seen a ripple, I cast there, and I get a fish. Let me see if I get it right. I saw a ripple somewhere. See, I saw it again. I saw it again. I saw it again. I saw it again. Oh man, I don't think it's there. I think there's a bunch of debris there, and I think that's where they were coming up. I mean, it's not a bunch of debris, it's just a few things that are in there. Okay, guys. Oh, see. Oof, I lost it. I had it for a minute there. Let's go again. There might be another one because... Oh, see, another one. Come on. A little farther away. Now let's hope he's still in the same spot. Let's hope he's still in the same spot. See? Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. Every ripple was a fish. And the only reason I was able to see those ripples is that because there is no wind, right? So the water is just so still. I can see every ripple. I've seen, I don't know how many ripples I've seen, but I've tried to follow all of them, even if it's only like 10 meters or 15 meters, right? I just move a little bit and I cast the ripple, you know? And of course, if I take too long, I hope the fish is still close by. But usually that's been the case. But that's how you increase your chances. See, they're calling for everybody that is in the water to start leaving. It's 3:30. It's not that late, but now the ripples are starting to show up a lot more. Just for the last 15 minutes. As soon as I started to move, a lot more ripples. Crazy fella. Crazy fella. Oops. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording, but I pass by again. I pass by a ripple, and this I wish I would have filmed it.